there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Word to your mother.
I feel like I always say hello first. Hey, everybody, it's Joe Gatto, and I'm here with my friend.
Hi, I'm Steven.
And welcome to Two Cool Moms, where Steve and I give great maternal advice to some great fans.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, and we're ready to go. We're all fired up today.
How are you?
I'm good. Are you a morning person?
No.
No, right? Not at all.
Not at all.
Oh,
No.
Would you consider yourself a night owl?
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
because I was never a morning person, ever.
Yeah.
And then when I had kids, like you had to become, and the dogs, like when the dogs
Yeah.
woke up, I had to actually become one by nature.
Right.
I don't like it. It feels unnatural.
Yeah, my wife knows that I'm just not going to be productive
In the morning.
In the morning, so she's like,
Just stay here.
Yeah, exactly. It's like your dad's asleep.
Okay.
Even the kids know.
How did you get woken up for school?
Oh, my mom
Okay.
would always wake me up, and on the weekends I would sleep in so long. Sleep's my superpower. My mom would start vacuuming in the room and hit my bed with the vacuum. She literally just, I'm like, get out, Mom. She's like, wake up, you're lazy. I'm like, oh Christ. So that's how I would wake up on the weekends. Yeah.
I have two sisters. The oldest sister, Gina, they used to send in, and she used to do this thing where she would just like be very nice and wake you up slowly, and then eventually it would end up with her just pulling all the covers off you, and she'd like get up like one of those. Yeah.
So she was the morning.
She was a morning person
Forcing
everybody to wake up. I had an uncle, Fat Patty. Okay.
Fat Patty.
Half a gangster that works for sanitation in New York. Okay, Uncle Fat Pat. And when he come around the neighborhood, he would come to our house, and he was a huge gentleman.
Yeah.
And he used to love to sneak upstairs to wake up me and my sisters in the worst ways possible. Like he would literally steal pots and pans and bang them. He would have water guns. He broke a water balloon over my face.
Did he really?
Like all this stuff. Like he would do that.
I mean, you're pissed at the time, but you look back on it. It's
So
funny,
I know
right?
it's so funny.
Yeah.
But so angry at the time, like so much so that I like had a talk with my father, and I was like, Dad, you got to stop letting Fat Pat in the house. Like one of those.
That's a great name.
Yeah, Fat Patty. Fat Patty. He was great, man. Yeah, he was so shady. I loved him. We had this mulberry tree in my house, in my yard, that just would always leave. Like my dad hated it because everybody would step on it and then come in the house and all these berries, and it'd just be a mess. So my dad was like, "Oh, I want to get rid of this tree," and he got a quote from a guy, and it was like way too expensive to take it down because it was a big tree.
Yeah.
So we went to Hawaii as a family. And my father, he said, "Oh, I'm not going to be here for a while." He's like, "So, to my uncle," he said, "and, I don't like that tree." And then we went to Hawaii. And when we came back home, the tree was over in our yard, fell, and the fence broke, whatever.
Yeah.
And there was a claim filed by the New York City Department of Sanitation of an accidental knocking over of a tree. So the city had to pay for it for the tree removal. So my uncle, while we weren't home, ran the tree over with a garbage truck.
Are you serious?
Swear to God.
That is so
Isn't that phenomenal?
funny. Oh my
Phenomenal,
God.
yeah.
The old Jewish lightning, eh? As they say. Oh
that what
my
it's called?
God. Well, I mean, yeah.
Or Italian thunder.
Italian thunder, yeah. Oh my God, that's so great. Yeah.
He was the definition of a morning person, is my point. Like he would be, because I guess it's the nature of your job too, right? He had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning for work. Like I don't know how people on radio do it. Like no
to
way.
get up at 4 in the morning.
My goodness, I have a couple
and
of good friends who are like
talk for 4 or 5 hours, and then you got to talk. Oh God, that's the worst.
you miss out on work. Like they go to bed at like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Like you can't go out for like friends' birthdays or events or whatever, right?
And then you're stuck on that schedule for years. For years.
Elvis Duran in New York, good friend of mine. He is been doing it decades.
Yeah.
And that's just his life.
Yeah. I saw a great documentary on Z100.
Yes.
And he's in it.
Yes.
And he talks about the impact of Z100. And again, I grew up listening to Z100 when I was in Jersey, and I'm sure you grew up listening to it, top 40 station.
Yep.
And I was blown away at you don't know the whole story, whatever. And I was like, wow, it was a really fascinating story to see that they went from like literally the bottom of the barrel to the biggest radio station, and they're still one of the most relevant stations.
Held on to it.
Crazy.
For decades.
Yeah.
I have so many funny stories with Z100, but one of the highlights of my career to this day, and also one of the times I was the most nervous, is they invited me to be a guest by myself, and I sat down with him for 20 minutes and talked on air.
Oh, really?
And he's so nice and so inviting, and I know him really well. He's really involved in the animal community here. Mm-hmm. I know him for decades. I won a contest back in 2001 91, 2, maybe 2000. It was called DJ for a Day. And you had to send in tapes and audition. And what they do is they were going to pick somebody to come in for a day to help them host. Yeah. Okay. So they ended up picking 3 winners. Yeah. And what I did was I had recorded the morning show and then I edited together me talking and them responding. And they really liked it. It caught their attention.
Really?
It was really funny and really good.
Genius.
So, and I wrote jokes around it. I was 20s, 22.
Okay. I thought you were like
No.
14 or 15
No. I was young 20s.
Okay,
I was young 20s.
All right.
Yeah, because I was working at Accenture, my first job out of college. So I'm 22, 23. And I won. And I had to go in, and I did the last hour. So they did an hour of somebody from 7 to 8, 8 to 9, and then I had 9 to 10. I think it was.
How nervous were you?
I was so nervous, but I instantly got so comfortable in that room.
Really?
I think I got a little too comfortable because this is back in the day when Elvis was.
Y'all take a coffee, Rick? Thank you. What do we got cooking? We got the weather on the nines. Okay, let's go. Let's roll.
I decided. They said, "Hey, you won. You get to do whatever you want." Like that was their whole shtick. It was like, "You're a DJ for a day. What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Oh, this is fun." I said, "Let's just take some phone calls." And everybody I knew in Staten Island called in and was like, "I can't believe Joe's on the radio." Way. So we just did like an hour of phone calls.
Oh, how
and
cool
this
is
is
that?
back, and I got really comfortable because I was talking to a lot of my friends and stuff. So I got a little too comfortable with Elvis really fast. Like I really didn't know him at that time, and it was during the time when he was a little bit plumper.
Sure, yeah.
And I started busting his chops about it, and I hit him with some really great singers, and he was laughing so hard. Right?
Oh, that's great.
It was great, and he really took it in stride. And then the next morning they went on. They're like, "Well, we're never doing that contest again." And that's when I befriended them. My journey with them started there.
No way.
And I've been friends with them forever. Yeah, like we text and stuff. He's a great guy. Such a great guy. That's a real family.
How crazy is that, though, to do that and then you being where you're at now and then him knowing the trajectory? That's crazy.
His mind was blown when I reminded him that the first time they interviewed us. I was like, "Do you remember DJ for a Day?" He's like, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, I was like, "That was me." And he was like, "Oh," like it was like a Kaiser Soze dropping the mug moment. Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, and I can't say enough nice things about him. He's such a great dude, and it's so cool. Like when they say, I totally disagree with the statement, "Never meet your heroes." Yeah, I met him and I was like, wow, he totally lives up to the type of person that you thought he would be. Because I know when mics aren't rolling, just talking on the phone, at events when nobody's watching, just him and I, and he's just real. He's a real dude. So
unbelievable. And radio is not as it's not what it was back in the day, but there are still some names that have survived, and he's absolutely one of them.
Yeah,
I mean, he's,
for sure.
Icon in that industry. It's crazy, like to think back on the contest they had when we were kids. Yeah. Did you see this? Like they did. Maybe it was like Vice, but they did this mini documentary on the kids that won a night to hang out with Van Halen.
What?
You were like a roadie for Van Halen. So they had these 2 15-year-olds or like 16-year-old kids. And they got to spend the night with Van Halen.
That's crazy.
And these kids are like, we're fucking drinking, we're doing drugs, we're banging groupies. Like, it's mind-blowing that, like, a network...
Right. Was like, "Hey, this is the prize you get, yeah?
You get to hang out..."
Nobody was like,
This isn't Wilson Phillips. This is Van Halen.
Nobody throws an asterisk on that.
But remember, like they gave away a house, and John Mellencamp would come, like, sing at that, like a little pink house, like, "Oh, you win a house.
This is your house." Yeah.
That is...
I won a dance contest on the South Street Seaport, and I went to Brazil.
Wait, what?
I won a trip to Brazil.
I'm learning a lot today. Hold on a second. Wait, what happened?
Z100 about 3 months later, they're hosting a contest down called The Greatest Smile in New York, down on the South Street Seaport. And they have to. It's a dance contest between men and women. And Scary Jones and Danielle Monero are picking people out of it. And I lock eyes with Scary, and I go like this, and he sees it's me. He goes, "Oh," he goes, "Come on, go." So I come up. So now I'm one of the 10 people. Okay, and it's a dance contest. Yeah. It's a dance floor.
This is your time to shine.
I mean, do we even need to have the contest? They go, "What do you want to dance to?" I say, "Throw on something that's a lot of fun. How about some Walking on Sunshine?" I jammed.
You went nuts.
I went ham on that stage. I crushed the men. It was one female winner, one male winner. Yeah, I was better than the female as well. I crushed it. I won, and then they said, "You won," and I was on the news. And I went to Brazil for Carnival.
Are you serious?
They gave you a travel voucher. I was at that point. I was 24.
Dude, your early 20s. I was
crushing life. Yeah. What happened?
So you went to Brazil by yourself?
Me and Joe the Fish.
Wow.
Me and Joe the Fish went to Brazil, and I got my camcorder still on the beach.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
But how was Brazil?
Brazil was great. Brazil was great. Yeah, Brazil was awesome. It was such a
And you went
interesting
for Carnival.
town.
I mean, that must have been
Yeah, it was insane.
surreal.
Yeah, 24-year-old in Brazil for Carnival. Don't speak a word of Portuguese.
Yeah.
Just running around, looking like a tourist, taking pictures. My stuff got stolen. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a seedy town, but it was, if you knew what you were doing, it was fine. But
I always hear the women are just
I mean, yeah, that's a different breed down there. Even the men. I mean, people are gorgeous down there. It's just, they live their life outside. They live their life outside.
Right.
In a beautiful, temperate place. Like, it's such a difference.
Yeah.
Everything is outside. There's no roofs in all of Brazil. There's not a roof. You cannot find a roof in Brazil.
Not a roof to be had.
No.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I did a USO tour, and it was like Kazakhstan or something like that, where like Russia and Asia meet.
Did you just make up a country?
I think so, yeah. Kyrgyzstan or something? I don't know.
Kazakhstan. That was great. Though,
Kazakhstan?
yeah. Is that where Bruno is from? God,
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's great.
What is Dick Talks? But I've never seen more beautiful people. Like, and I'm Korean and Irish, but I was like, this is a different, I don't know what breed this is. The girls working at McDonald's were like supermodels.
It was the mixing of the races that did it.
It
right?
was,
Any of those melting pot states, countries, yeah.
God,
Yeah.
I was like, that girl is cooking fries. That's the hottest
Fry cooker I've ever seen.
ever
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah.
And like, she could move to New York City and probably find work as a model, right?
Yeah.
Like right now. I was blown away.
And then you married her, right? Right, Jess?
You know,
You married up, though.
I got a. You know, Joe, the old line I use is that a lot of guys in entertainment, you want a trophy wife, and I got a participation trophy wife.
Oh, that's you, Stevie.
She has the best sense of humor. And
She's
she
the
knows
greatest.
I'm totally
I love
razzing her,
it.
Jess.
I mean,
I love you.
if she didn't have a sense of, could you imagine?
Oh
Like, as
my God, I'd
like
be
when we're at
miserable.
lunch, it's, oh yeah, because you're funny, and you guys like go out, but she like genuinely laughs at you.
Genuinely,
That's so
yeah.
great. I love that.
At times. At times. I try I stopped trying material out on her a long time
Didn't you say
ago.
that she started listening to this podcast and was pleasantly surprised that she actually liked it?
Yes.
Thanks, Jess.
Yeah. She does listen to it, and she's like, I really liked it. I was like, well, thanks. I hope so.
Finally, you made something
Yeah.
of yourself. Multiple comedy specials, television series, movies. You're like, but that podcast you do with Joe in that basement.
This is the one.
In that closet in New York City. That's it, man. This is a tablecloth.
With the fake.
This is fake lavender.
Yeah, there we go. All right, here we go. Kayla? Would you say Kayla?
I would say Kayla.
Okay, Kayla.
We're going to the messages. Thanks everybody for writing in. Make sure
Thank
you're
you, as
following
always.
at Two Cool Moms Pod on Instagram.
Kayla, your profile pictures of you driving. I'm glad you have your seatbelt on. Cautious. Here we go. I feel like I'm on technology too much and can't be productive. What do you find is the best routine to get into a productive mindset? What?
Her profile pictures. She's driving and on technology. Yes, Kayla, you are on it too much.
It's true. I think that's such a relatable question, though.
For sure. So what was the second part? I'm sorry, I was laughing.
What do you find is the best routine to get into a productive mindset?
Here's something that I read, or somebody told me. I forget, or I might have heard
this up?
I might have heard on the radio. I might have just made up. But no, one thing I heard that was don't sleep with your phone by your bed. Don't go to bed with your phone
Right.
near you, or the ability to grab it. And that's the next step I need to take because I feel like I'm on it too much too. But we're on it. Like I'm on it for work a lot, especially like Tuesdays are the worst for me.
Right.
Because I'm doing all the, I'm trying to push out the word about the podcast. I'm doing the multiple account stuff, and I just find that like I look at my screen time on Tuesdays and it's like 4 hours.
Oh shit!
It's
Really?
That's
a lot.
a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I'm very guilty for I can't sleep. Let me grab my phone. Where if I couldn't grab my phone, I would just lay there for probably another 5 minutes and fall asleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say that's step one is like don't sleep near your phone.
I think that's a great call, but it also it plays into your sleep habits, and the light is stimulating, and it can keep you up longer than you want to be. Obviously, I try to not read the news before I go to bed because that's always my hookup. I always read the news. Yep. The thing I try to do the most is I try to, especially when I'm home, I use my phone as the the least possible amount I can, so my children don't see me always on the phone, because if they see me, they're going to be conditioned to think, oh, that's normal. So
I get called out by my daughter all the time.
Oh, you do?
Like if I get a text or I have to send a message or something, and you know, because I'm always working while I'm playing with them, you know, I'm with them for those hours at midday, you know, so it's like I'll get all the time. She's like, "Dad, you're on your phone again," and I'm like, "I know," and like it stings a little. Because you know you're trying to multitask. But here's the thing too: is that because the phone does so much. So tell me that this isn't a process that you go through. You're like me. You love taking pictures. You see something, your daughter's doing something cute, right? Of
course, yeah.
You take a picture on your phone. Your phone's in your hand. You're like, "Oh, let me just check this real quick," right? You swipe.
Always, yeah.
Right. That always happens. The problem is that everything, your whole world, is literally in the phone.
I always close out apps. I close out the Twitter app, and then I go right back to it. Do you ever do that? I'm like, I just closed it. Why am I back? I just closed it out. Like, what am I doing? And I think that screen time thing that they have, like on Instagram or, you know, on your phone, you can track it and see how much time. I think it's eye-opening.
I do.
How much time you spend on it. So what I try to do is, and this is just my suggestion, I go to airplane mode. I hit airplane mode and I leave it charged, and I try to step away. I go take a walk. I hang out with the kids. It just doesn't exist when I put it on airplane mode because nothing's coming in. Yeah. And, you know, unless I'm waiting, anticipating something. But for the most part, most of this shit's not that important. So I just...
Have you ever forgotten your phone at home? Right? You survived. Right?
Yes.
People are like, oh, my God. Right?
The anxiety.
The anxiety, right? You're like, oh, I don't have my phone. Guess what? You're going to be able to be all right for 4 hours.
Yeah.
It's crazy. On the airplane... Like on the airplane, I never buy the Wi-Fi. I never do any of that. It's like you totally like. I love when I'm flying across country to LA or whatever. You know.
I hope they never institute cell service on airplanes.
I think it'll ruin.
Oh God,
ruin it.
People now.
Yeah.
At the gate. On speaker, cranked up, or you're sitting.
Before you take it up, before they close the door.
God,
I'm on the plane. I only have a couple minutes. Tell me all about your problem.
Yeah,
on speakerphone. Here, while I'm in the middle seat, 14B. Stupid.
Or somebody's playing a game with the volume up.
I will. That may be a reason why I end up murdering a person. They're playing their stupid boop, pop, pop, beep, pop, pop, major score. you're like, what the fuck? And then you're looking at slicing fruit or they're throwing cantaloupes at somebody. And you're like, what is this game? I don't even get it, right? It's like they're shooting arrows, right? The main character is dressed like a knight and he's shooting arrows at like a dragon that's going major score and it's breathing like pumpkins at it. It's so stupid.
Tell me how you really feel.
I don't like those games. That's really my point.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But I think Kayla is dealing with what everybody's dealing with, right?
Yeah, it's a social. It's what society deals with. Yeah.
I think you slowly wean yourself. I'm telling you, put it on airplane mode. It really does. It's a little trick, but it just no notifications.
I would say that too. I don't get notified by any apps.
I don't
care if somebody tweet. I don't do any of that. Any Instagram. You have a new. I don't put any of it on. I keep it all off.
Yeah. Same.
Okay. So those seem like some good tips and tricks. I hope it works out for you. Yeah. And if you're watching this on your phone, please watch to the end of the episode, then put your phone down.
Yeah, and stop driving and taking selfies. Very dangerous.
Yes.
That was like the cover of Jamie Foxx's book. Did you see? It's called like Have Some Sense or something like that. And he's taking a selfie while he's driving a convertible with his daughter in the back. So it's like, dude, dipshit. All right, here we go. This is from Olivia. Hi, moms. So I'm a huge overthinker. I overthink every conversation that I have, even if it's with my best friend. And it's worse when it comes to opening up because I get so scared. But if I don't talk about my problems, I will get very anxious over time. Do you have any advice on how to deal with overthinking?
I'm not really equipped to
I don't overthink.
I don't overthink either.
My wife overthinks everything.
Yeah.
And she stresses herself out.
Well, I mean, you say that, but does she think about it enough and you don't think about it at all? You call it an overthink, or she does it so much that she turns herself into a tizzy?
No. You're right.
Yeah. Right? Because people who aren't overthinkers, that's our first thing is like, oh, you're overthinking it. But they might just be doing the norm because I don't think I think about stuff enough sometimes.
I agree with you. I'm probably in that camp where I'm like, all right, let's just buy the shovel. She's like, well, let's look at the shovels. What kind of shovel do we need? And can we find a shovel at a good price point? Like she'll do research on the shovel, and it'll be 5 minutes, but she thinks about it and she's like, here's a good option. This gets great reviews and this is affordable and it sounds like it'll last a long time. Whereas I would just like, oh, it's a fucking shovel. I have a shovel. I pay for a shovel. I have a shovel. Yep. But she's great. So I don't think overthinking's too bad, but when you're overthinking to the point where it's affecting your social life, then
it needs to be addressed. Yeah. It needs to be addressed. One of my very, very, very good friends, who's also a friend of yours.
Yes.
His name's Sal.
I was going to say, just give me his initials.
Well, yeah. When we always laugh because we, as you know, we've been in business together forever, and we've had to make a lot of decisions together. And I'm always a gut. This is my vote. This is what I'm saying thing. And he will go through all the rigmarole of it, take his time, break it down, build it up, figure out blah, 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 to get to a place. And 99% of the time would be the same answer. And it's so funny because every time we did this and we had to wait and talk it down, blah, 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 I would go to him. So you agree with me? Yeah. So why don't you always just agree with me? Because you always get to the same place I do. Right, But it's a process. So some people do think that way. Yeah. But if you feel like you're an overthinker, I think it's important if it's starting to affect you in a bad way. So that's why it needs to be addressed. So
yeah, but it's also that's part of your fabric, right?
Yeah,
and I would also maybe not think of it as a detriment. Maybe it's an attribute.
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink you're overthinking. Is what Mommy's saying.
That's right. Yeah, it's probably look as someone who just goes from the gut like you do. I kind of wish I did more of that. So I'm there's a part of me that's kind of like jealous of somebody who's an overthinker.
This mommy's a little jelly. Little jelly, this mama bear.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, I will. But I will say, if you want to try to break her, okay, so let's go the other way with it. Let's say she doesn't like it.
Yeah.
We're giving her a compliment and kudos for it because we think you might be being a little too hard on yourself, aka overthinking it. But if you want to change it, try to do the flip for a week or 3 days. Go with your gut for 3 days. See what happens. See how bad. Imagine everything falls apart.
Oh, my God.
Imagine this girl's life is ruined in 3 days, and it's just like...
Fuck you, Frank. We're getting divorced. I'm not overthinking this.
I don't feel like we should be married anymore.
But you're almost here. Partner.
But I'm not happy here. Yes. Now I do crack cocaine. It's like, what? I'm not overthinking it. Give me another hit. It's great. Yeah, everything's fine. I can fly. No.
We're never going to die. Janice.
So think a little bit.
But maybe put yourself in situations where you're forced to just make an impulsive decision.
Yeah.
And maybe that
try going with your impulse for a little bit and see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah, we did the comedic effect, but if you're thinking like what to order, don't read the whole menu. When you find something you like, stop reading.
That's the worst. Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, don't even get me. I don't even go there. That and P.F. Chang's, those two places.
How do you?
I stop. That's how I order. I see something I like, I stop. That's it. People do this like, oh, that sounds good. Oh, that sounds good. I'm like, oh, this sounds good. Done. That's what I'm having.
I always get the farfalle chicken.
You do
with the garlic.
You do
every single time.
Yeah.
And I look at the menu and I think of all the things I could get, but I always get farfalle chicken.
I always get a full cheesecake.
A what?
A full cheesecake.
A full cheesecake.
Just get a cheesecake.
How much if you were left to your own devices and you had a whole cheesecake in front of you?
I am left to my own devices. I'm a grown up. I'm not being supervised. But you should see me alone in my apartment. I just have full cheesecakes and I'm just crying myself to sleep.
No shame. There's no shame. There's no guilt. If you had a whole cheesecake, how much of the Cheesecake Factory cheesecake would you eat?
A Cheesecake Factory cheesecake is pretty hefty. I could at least I could get down a quarter, no problem. Possibly half.
Are you?
Yeah, I don't think I can eat a full. No, Jiggy, what do you think? Jiggy's had a lot of desserts with me.
I mean, a quarter, no problem.
A quarter, no problem. Yeah.
Wow.
A half a cheesecake
I'd
is probably where I'd stop.
and I'd be tapped out. That is
his green room cheesecake.
Gone.
I've never seen anyone eat a full slice of cheesecake. That was a generous portion with
It's not
chocolate.
a throat. It's a gullet. It just like it goes in and then it like disappears, and then you made the joke like there's a triangle right here or something like that.
Let's push it down
like
when
an
I want some.
anaconda. Just, yeah.
Steve was asking Joe what he was eating for dessert. By the time he answered, it was gone.
It was gone.
That's right.
Gone. Mm-hmm. I've never seen. Why do you eat so quick like that?
I told you one of the ones my parents just let play.
Oh my God, that is bananas, dude. I never seen.
I don't eat
like
bananas fast though. I savor a banana. Go figure.
All right, here we go. Hi, moms. I'm Brent. Wanted to know what I should do here. My cousin is cute, like really cute. How do I find someone for her? I'd love to be able.
Thank God that sentence was next.
I'd love to be able to go on double dates with her. What the fuck is going on here?
I thought that was going a different way. He tells his cousin was cute. I need help here. My cousin is cute. He's trying to find somebody for his cousin, but he did not word that well.
My God, dude.
Brent, you gotta reverse your sentences.
Yeah. Brent,
how do I find somebody for...
Context is everything here. Oh, buddy.
Hey, cool moms, how do I date my cousin?
Well, she's really cute. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
She's going to be fine.
Maybe he just is because he like I've been in those situations. I had a cousin who was very good with the ladies and had girlfriends a lot, and he's only a year older than me. And
my cousin is cute, like really cute.
He's trying to give his cousin props, but
that's nice. Yeah, but
I had that thing where he would want me to go on, like, hang out with him, and he'd be going out with a girl, and he'd be like, "Oh, we should go out," and I wouldn't have anybody to bring. So I think maybe he's trying to solve a third wheel situation.
Yeah. He enjoys hanging out with his cousin.
Yes,
that's very sweet. And
but he doesn't want to. Is he solving it for him, or is he solving it for his cousin? I don't know.
It's like, dude, just get lunch with her. Like, hang with your cousin. Why do you have to be on a double date with her? Too, like, that's weird, right?
Want somebody else there to break the sexual tension. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Dating your cousin is definitely crazy. But he's not even saying that. But I think the way he presented the information is what is throwing us for a loop. If you're just saying, how do you hook your cousin up with somebody? Just hook your cousin up with somebody, or let them be. Let them be.
Just bang an aunt. Bang an aunt and then work your way to a cousin.
Yeah,
you don't just get to hook up with a cousin.
No, you gotta do your time.
You gotta go to the source.
You gotta do your time. You gotta put the hours in. You gotta put the work in. You'll get her mom.
Okay, this is coming to us. Okay, I just want to make sure.
He's throwing for a loop from the cousin. He's throwing for a loop.
I was. Okay. That's not exactly. This is not a. Okay.
If they're not questions, they're just conundrums. They're just things.
Yeah.
We can read things.
Okay. This is coming from Miguel. Thing you regret most.
Oof. How much time do we have?
This is a special episode.
Yes, a special 4-hour Two Cool Moms.
A two-parter, yeah. Thing you regret the most. Boy, oh boy.
It's funny because for a long part of my life, I tried to live life without regrets, because regrets is a weird thing, right? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you kind of just want a do-over, right? But you don't know how it would pan out.
Sure, yeah.
You might end up in the same spot, you know?
Yeah.
So you could regret moves you made, but the end game might have been the same. So it really is hard. Regret and worry are two, like, wasted emotions for me. They're things that just live in your mind, and all they're doing is taking up real estate, because there's literally nothing you could do about it. Yeah. You could be worrying about something that's not going to happen, and it could cripple you. Yeah. And it doesn't end up happening, and all you did was ruin your existence or your experience over a period of time.
Completely agreed. I think if you dwell on the regret...
For sure.
But if it's spurred on by, like, a question like this, it would make me think. I don't really... I'm always... looking for I don't really look in the rearview mirror too much, but
yeah, sometimes you have to, though. Sometimes, like, you have to take a look and say, you know, with my whole marriage thing, like, that forced you to look at something and be like, did I do that right? No, I didn't. I definitely made some mistakes, but you're right with the dwelling on it and accepting a new reality and trying to figure it out. I mean, that's part of life, right? Mm-hmm. You got to figure out, you have to deal with the new reality. So
sure.
I try not to dwell in the regret, although I do have regrets. I think that's the best way to say it.
Yeah.
So my biggest regret, probably, of course, right now, because it's the freshest too, is the way that my family life has panned out. Before that, it was probably eating that half a cheesecake at the Cheesecake Factory, because that really set me for a loop. I didn't really live a life of regrets before, like, that. I mean, because you have a big moment, of course, you're going to be in your feels about something, but I don't think of something else that's like, you know.
The time I always feel regret is if I drank a little too much, and the next day I'm retracing my steps, and to somebody else, these are minor. They don't even think about it.
Right.
It's like, oh, I wouldn't even notice that. It's like having a zit on my face. Like, I know it's there, but nobody else notices. Yeah. And so I sit there and go, oh, I should have said that. I should have acted this way or whatever. I think that's been part of it. But I think like looking back on my behavior as a teenager, like when I was 14 or 15, the way I treated my parents and even my younger brother, that was just absolutely uncalled for. I can think about like things I said and just my behavior just stuck up. I deserved a good ass whooping, and my dad handed it to me a few times where he just kind of smacked me right back into place. But man, some of the stuff I said, like, you can't take those things back. It's part of it, and they're so gracious and kind, knowing I was a teenager and going through it. And I see moments of that where with my daughter, I'm trying to pacify and suppress it as much as possible. I'm like, oh, I know a storm's coming. I know a storm's coming, because there's little flashes of it, but I'm trying to stem the tide a bit so it's not as bad as it was for me.
I think when you get to our age, a little bit older, you do reflect on those. And I think in that same time period, I probably have two of my biggest regrets in like 8th to 9th grade. And it was when you were going through that and realizing you have your own, you're figuring out your voice, you're figuring out the kind of person you're going to be, and stuff like that. So I remember at an 8th grade dance, there was this one kid in our class, Anthony Sergione, who had, who we used to make fun of for something. I think his hands were dry, like had dry hands, whatever. And it was during the time we were learning about, Teddy Roosevelt, and he used to call him Old Rough and Ready. So we used to call him that, like, and he didn't like it. But like this one kid, and the other that I was like a follower a little bit. I fell into, like, I wanted to try to be popular because I wasn't. And I just, like, if I liked to make him laugh, I would, or if he laughed, I'd feel like validated. And I remember at the dance, everybody, unbeknownst to me, was like, I bet you could get Joe to do anything. I bet you could get him to make fun of Anthony. And I did, and everybody was like laughing at me. And then Anthony just told me, he's like, they just did that to show you that you'll do anything he says. You're such a loser. And I remember going home from that dance, and that being a moment of my life, realizing going from being bullied to bullier-ish kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
And that was a big moment. And I would say that's probably my biggest regret, one of the biggest regrets of that time.
An 8th grade dance.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, what are you, 12, 13 at that point?
I just got manipulated. I got manipulated. I thought I was doing something that would make me cool, and then I realized what a loser and how I was just being mean
at the expense of somebody
else. You know, and I think that's a big eye-opening moment for me.
It's a great lesson, though.
Yeah,
it's a great lesson, and it. I mean, you have a mantra: be kind, and I think it's something you've exemplified every time I've seen you out in public or around people or whatever. So, I think that's probably one of those pivotal turning moments, right?
Realize, it definitely changes your circuits a little bit.
Wow,
for sure.
And that was just a simple question. That's crazy.
There you go. So we get deep here on Two Cool Moms sometimes.
We're getting deep. All right, here we go. This is from WK. Hey guys, I want to start off by saying how much I enjoy your podcast. It really does make my day better. Thank you very much.
That's why we do it.
And I think I can speak for all of us when I say you never fail to make us laugh. I bet Steve's got a huge hog. He's so handsome. No. The question I want answered is, how do you deal with feeling like you don't belong? I'm going to a new school in fall, and that might be the case. Thanks for your time.
We just talked about worry. What's the main thing that pops out of me there? That might be the case. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Get there. Don't put it out in the world that you're not going to fit in. You don't know. You're wasting energy and time right now, a time when you should be getting excited about a new experience. You're worrying. Stop. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry. If you get there and it's not, you don't feel accepted, or you're trying to find your clique, then you deal with it. And you will. But don't go into it being like, oh, it's not going to work, because what you're going to do is you're going to work yourself up, and you'll maybe not put your best foot forward, or be a little more shy than you would have been.
Yeah.
Or not be open to meet somebody because you're afraid of being rejected. And you're doing all these things that could actually, you're speaking that into a truth.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I moved from New Jersey to Pittsburgh. I think I was like 11 or 12 years old. And I moved to Pittsburgh, and I was, I had my friends, I had my core.
Right.
We get on our BMX bikes and ride. Like, this was my crew, and it was so fun. And I was so nervous. And I remember getting on the bus the first day, and I was so shy, like crippling shy. I put my backpack on the floor of the bus and sat down because I didn't want to sit next to anybody. Oh, wow. And I was so shy. And
so everybody was like, look at this weird kid sitting on his backpack, and you didn't make it.
I made it worse. You made it worse. And then what happened was, over the course of the next few months, I realized, oh, I can be funny, and that's how I make friends. My sense of humor developed in that moment, and it happened at that right time of my life where, you know, you're trying to find your identity. I'm not the quarterback. I'm not the handsome guy. I'm not, you know, I'm just like, what am I? Right. And then I became like the goofy kid. I was the funny kid in class, and that's how I made friends. And so that move helped to determine my identity. I don't know if I'd be, I mean, I was always kind of goofy and fun, but that really
you leaned into it.
I leaned into it. It became like a trait of like, oh, this is how I make friends. This is who I guess, like when I do this, that makes them smile and happy. So I'll just keep doing that. Yeah. And I talked to a few of my friends that had a similar experience where they moved at that age, and every one of us, it's tough at the time, but you look back on it going, that was one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Like moving and being forced to make new friends. And I kept telling my kids that when we were moving from Los Angeles to California, especially for my daughter. Was a lot
you
tougher.
went from LA to Nashville, right?
LA to Nashville, and my daughter was so nervous and shy, and I'm like, this is going to be the best. You're going to make all new friends, and you're the new kid. Like, you're the new kid.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be looking at you and want to introduce themselves. You're going to have all these friends.
Something.
Yeah. I was like, you're going to have a blast. And within a week, you know, within those first few days, she was just like, this is so fun. I met so-and-so, and I met so-and-so, and now in the neighborhood, they met all these kids, and it just like, I don't know. I think it's more of an exciting experience than it is like, you know, a downer or something, you know?
That's cool that you could prep them from experience, too, because you moved. Because you lived in Pittsburgh, you said?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know. I'm from Pittsburgh.
You look like you're at a Penguins game. You got the hat on. You got the shirt. This is Pittsburgh.
I just
like,
need
people get it,
and a pretzel.
People get it, pal. Next time you show up, it's gonna be Nashville with the Predators hat.
But yeah, I think to your point, WK, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah,
I think it's such an exciting experience, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it,
and don't worry about it until you have to.
Yeah.
This outfit brought to you by Pittsburgh.
You're a cool mom. Okay, this is coming to us from Phoenix.
Oh, the name?
Yes,
Ooh, that's
the name.
a great name.
Yeah, cool name.
Phoenix, yeah.
Huge fan of you guys and your show. I too am a cool mom.
Oh yeah, Phoenix.
Just slightly ghetto. All right, Phoenix. You know, a little sass. I like it. Okay, so here's the dilemma. I've been with this guy for 7 years, but he claims that he's not in love with me. Everything we do together. We live together. We sleep together. We legit are best friends. I have an 8-year-old, and he loves him to death. How do I navigate this? He's my person. I love him to death, but because of his broken past, I know he is having a hard time committing. The struggle is real. All caps. So she's been with the guy for 7 years.
He claims
he's not in love.
That's an odd sentence.
With me.
He claims that not. So she's so sure of it that she thinks he's just saying that he doesn't. Like, what makes her think that he does if he's straight up saying he doesn't, though?
I don't understand somebody that's with somebody for 7 years. You're hanging out and you're in a relationship, but you don't want to be. I don't know. To me, it's confusing.
Yeah. I mean, the only experience I have with something like this happened in Cincinnati, Ohio, at a blackjack table at 2 a.m.
Come again?
I'm playing blackjack after a show. We were playing. It was in Ohio. I think it was either Columbus or Cincinnati. Yeah. And I'm sitting. I come to a blackjack table. It was like 2 a.m, and a bunch of fans that came and had seen our show.
Sure.
Our live show that we had played in the area were at the table.
Cincinnati is not far away from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I don't know if you guys have heard of this city. Go ahead. Yeah.
So I sit down, and there's a gentleman next to me with a woman standing behind him, a couple of friends, a female, their friends who are a couple, a guy and a girl, and then another man just by himself at the end. And we get into it, and we start talking. Joe, we're big fans of the show, blah, blah, blah. We're all talking, and the guy next to me is, had a couple drinks, and the woman he's with as well. Not drunk, but just very talkative. And we get into it, we're chit-chatting and whatnot, and she says to me, she's like, yeah, you got to get this guy to marry me. As she's standing behind him, I was like, "Oh, why don't you marry her?" And he's like, "Nah, I can't marry her." He's like, "No." I said, "Okay." I said, "He doesn't want to marry her." I talked to him about it, and we laughed or whatever. And then we're sitting there, and the cards keep playing, and this guy, I could just see him in his head, and he goes, "Yeah." He's like, "Maybe I should marry her, but I don't know." And I goes like that, and so he brought it back up. So I said, "Okay, well, why wouldn't you marry her?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, I've been through a lot, man. I've been divorced. I got my heart broke." And I just went, "Did she break your heart?" Right. And he goes, "No." I said, "So why are you blaming her?"
Right. Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, you're right." I said, "None of my business, buddy. None of my business, right?" And quiet, we played the game, split these eights. Thank you. Okay, hit me, whatever. And then he goes, "She is great, though." Like out of nowhere, he starts to back up. And I said, "Okay, so she's great." So I said, "So why don't you marry her?" Yeah. And I was like, how? And I sort of talked to her. How long have you guys been together? She's like, 8 years. I'm like, 8 years. I'm like, wow. And I'm like, well, why? What makes you love him? She's like, well, he's such a great dad to our kid. I go, what? You guys have a kid together? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. So do you love her? He's like, yeah. I'm like, so why don't you marry her? She has your baby that you love.
Yeah.
You love her. I said, well, what is that? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. Man, I should. And I said, so I stopped the deal.
Yeah.
And I go, hold on a second. I said, what is getting in your way from right now just proposing to this woman?
Right.
And he goes, oh, man. He goes, I don't know. I don't have a ring. I took my wedding ring off. I put it on the table. I said, now you have a ring. What's your excuse?
Really?
And they got engaged right at that table.
No way. Are you kidding me,
Swear to
dude?
God. Swear to God. They got engaged at that table.
That is a great story.
Yeah. So let him come play blackjack with me, and I think that's going to be...
That is crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Did
and
you
they're still married to this day.
Are they really?
Yeah, no. We just checked in with them not too long ago on Facebook. Yeah.
I think all those questions pertain exactly to what this situation is, and I think she needs to have that conversation with him of like, it seems like he has a broken past, but again, to your point, it's like she didn't do anything wrong. Right. They're actually doing the complete opposite. She's showing she's supportive. She's saying, yeah, I want a relationship with you. I believe in us, et cetera, et cetera. She has a great time with him.
There needs to be a talk here because you want both people to be happy, right? The last thing she wants to do also is force him into marriage when he's not ready or wants to.
Right.
If you're happy with the way things are, and why do you want the marriage? What's making you feel that you want the marriage? Is it the stability?
Right.
Do you feel? Make him address that.
Yeah.
Be like, look, I don't feel secure in this relationship because you won't marry me. So of course I'm getting in my head and feeling insecure.
Sure.
You're like, he can't blame her for that. But so he has to tell her why that is. It's a dialogue needs to be had.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the communication is always key.
Yeah.
Always, 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 no matter what it is. But you got to respect the other person's feelings too. Even though you may passionately feel this way, it's like you can't negate the fact that this individual may feel differently than you. Mm-hmm. And it's not your job to coerce or, pigeonhole them into your mindset. It's like you gotta understand that there's somebody with a different opinion than yours, and hopefully it jibes. But if it doesn't, then you're at a.
And going back to what we talked about earlier, don't overthink it.
Don't overthink.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
Is he happy? Great.
If it ain't broke,
don't marry it. And that's all the time we have, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening to Two Cool Moms. This is a good one. This is a lot of fun.
Very fun, yes.
Wait, they were really coming in with the thunder with these questions. I really appreciate this.
There were some really good questions today.
We got deep here, too. There's a lot of heart to this episode.
A lot of heart.
I like that.
And I learned...
Not much humor, so I hope you guys...
No, but dude, that story about you getting somebody, that's an amazing story, dude.
I try to put love out in the world, baby.
That is a crazy, crazy story. And so every time they're flipping through the TV and go, we wouldn't be married if it wasn't for that dude.
That's right.
That's amazing, dude.
I hope it sticks.
These two cool mommies love you, so show us some love.
Please rate us, review us, follow us on all social media, and subscribe to our YouTube.